fat gold veins. The fat gold veins are actually elsewhere. So it might be a little bit frustrating. And all the while, honest, I don't know how it stayed that high in the ranks that long. I think what we're learning here is the rest of us just need to get gooder. All right, guys, let's get ready, though. It is going to be an open map. We're going to be going to Dry Arabia, and it is going to be HRE on Mongols. But it's Mr. HRE, so erase everything you thought you knew. And here we go, in-game. And his opponent is going to be Poppypaw. Poppypaw that we're talking about, this player who played a lot of Mongols. He liked his outpost rushing early on, and he's on one of those civs that potentially can do it. Although it has to be said that it's not as popular as it used to be. It's not as dominant as it used to be, right? We're not seeing the infamous 70 wood, me zerg around your base, also bank scouts for 50 food each, lol, clap you out by 10-minute type Mongol strategies. If anything, a lot of these Mongol spammers, like if they go for the outpost rush early, it's just to pad their later timing. And I think he will get aggressive in this matchup. It's interesting as well because usually when your opponent's HRE, you have to get aggressive. But the new build, like the new era Mongols, don't really want to do that. A lot of them actually want to go to castle as quickly as possible. But I don't think you can do that. Like, I think if you're playing against HRE and you just get into a tech race, you're really just throwing the game. So expect Poppypaw to get ultra aggressive, maybe like drop a Rax and then throw out a villager early on, or possibly just go straight up into feudal and then try to get like a critical mass of archers into rams. So Trebuchet, by the way, for those unaware, we're assuming this is Mr. I think that's a safe bet. Like, that would make sense because Mr. doesn't play too much on his primary account. The only other player that came to mind this could have been back in the day, like there were some people who theorized it was Viper. That just didn't really add up. And then I think Lucifron was another one that was kind of a question mark. But like, I can't give full credit to Lucifron and Vortex. You know, probably half of the Smurfs in the top 100 belong to them. But we can't just assume that, right? We've got to draw the line at some point. So we're just going to go with this is Mr. Which seems like a decent amount of people do believe that. So even if we're wrong, like, delusion is how the 21st century works. So all good. I try to keep a list of Smurfs. The problem is they're allowed to change their name actively all the time. Like, you know, when you've got BC changing his name to Core for like 3 hours before realizing, I don't want to be Core anymore, and then changing it again. Like, you know, or Salami literally changing his name 5 times a day. It's so hard to keep up with the Smurf names. So tech up already available for Trebuchet, and it is going to be straight into the Arkan Chapel. This Arkan Chapel is kind of... I'm always like a fan of trying to get the golden wood, but in fairness, he didn't have a choice in this game, right? Like, he couldn't get both the gold line and the wood line sufficiently, so he has to settle for berry bushes, which isn't exactly like, you know, woohoo! Look at me, guys! I got berries! Like, if you were the Abbasids or the Delhi, sure, but as the HRE, it's like, woo, berries. When do I get more meat in my diet? So we'll see how that one plays out for him. Like, he'll at least get the influx of gold quickly, and there's enough food here with a 40% like buffed up in Holy Inspiration gathering rate that he will quickly accelerate towards castle. So really, like, that means the pressure has to ramp up from Poppypaw, right? And it is. Spearman already moving out. Villager moving in position as well. And Poppypaw, he's done this so many times. So he's not exactly foreign to this concept of outpost rushing. I'd say he's actually probably one of the players who's still keeping pretty flexible and pretty up-to-date on the timings of this strategy. And that will deny the wood straight away, but not the biggest of deals. Like, I think maybe Poppypaw gets more value out of wrapping north and denying the Arkan Chapel. Because if HRE just want to rush castle, like, wood being denied on that isn't the end of the world. Especially if you have 1 or 2 straggler trees, that's enough after you get castle to get your stable down and then get the initial knights out. So kind of interesting that he's prioritizing this first outpost, but it does give him that safe fallback point, right? Like, it's very dangerous if you decide to just peel past this and go to the back of the base for your first outpost, because you then don't have an established network to just funnel your troops through. Speaking of which, troops already moving around, so tech up does come through. Of course, Poppypaw has delayed himself by a decent margin. You see he's nowhere near ready for the tech up. That's just not how Mongol outpost rush strategies work, my friends. An archery range is being built by Trebuchet, so understanding he's going to need to repel this away. 1 outpost down isn't critical. 2 outposts down isn't even critical. If Poppypaw gets 3 outposts down, then Trebuchet's in trouble. And even bringing out a Prelate early on so you can buff the wood line. This is something I'm excited to see with the upcoming patch and the changes to the Minework Palace, actually, is that in theory, if you want to go for the Regnant still, like having multiple Prelates early on versus going Ark and Chapel. Like, it's not detrimental because you need additional prelates early on, eventually anyway, to go gather relics. So in theory, like, Ark and Chapel's value is diminished in conjunction with Mineworks' upcoming buffs of it being 30% quicker on research as well. So kind of excited to see that change. But yeah, right now it's just a normie build. They always do the same. Nice attempt to try and buff this away, but Drunk Archer, hello. Uh-oh. He might be going down here, so that's going to delay this. The second outpost is successfully going to go up for Poppy Paw. No way to deny that. Prelate trying to heal, not good enough though. So he does sacrifice 2 spears, but it's good enough if he gets the outpost up. And that means you're going to have to shift your wood line, which is frustrating, is going to delay your timing slightly. And Trebuchet isn't really holding big surpluses right now. Also, keep in mind that Poppy Paw can see into here. Nice dodge! Those arrows might have finished him off. He hides inside just in time with his troops, able to shift off of that. And now he has this. This is really big. The Scouting Falcon is why Trebuchet instantly backs away. If you look at the vision, Poppy Paw in theory maybe doesn't see you if you gather in the center. But if he uses the Falcon, like he gets full vision on double outpost, it'll eventually have arrow slits. So just peel away before those arrow slits come through with the additional range. Set up on the new wood line. And now Poppy Paw needs to try and do it again. But he realizes now that archers have arrived, this isn't good enough. He has to back away. So, Trebuchet slightly sacrificing his timing, but overall, this shouldn't cripple him too much. Like, on the eco front, Poppy Paw does have a 3-point lead, but we have to remember that the HRE economy is 40% more efficient, right, with the prelate buffs. And he has got 2 prelates over here floating a lot of wood. A hell of a lot of wood, actually. And I think that's because of the gaps in his economy, right? When you drag your whole line across like this, everything stalls. And it means that you're not actually floating the required surplus for your next house, for a transition, which you want this second transition, right? Like, you're up against Mongols that have shown aggression. You're already ahead. So you can actually afford to go for a second military building and get a composition out in the field. And this is going to be an effective one. Like, stables plus the archery range for the HRE, you need that midfield control to prep yourself for castle. Your opponent has already shown a rack, so he will have spears in the field. And what I'd really love to see Poppy now do with this presence is move a villager out to these relics and drop outposts. This is so debilitating when you're HRE, especially against the Mongols who get additional movement speed. Because one thing they can do is even if you combat them with a composition of units moving out, they can just run past those units and snipe the prelate when they come nearby. They don't actually have to prioritize fighting your war. Instead, they can just delay your relic timing again and again. And remember, every time you delay that relic timing, not only is it another 100 gold, but that's 1 less villager that the HRE are producing. And he's going to be Blacksmith. So I'm starting to wonder if Trebuchet is going to go aggressive with, like, maybe some sort of ram attempt. Obviously, you want the Blacksmith once you go archers alone just to get the missile upgrade. But there could be more to this as well. And Khan just being a little bit pesky, but only 4 damage isn't going to be good enough. Archers have moved across from Trebuchet. It's interesting, actually, because in theory, if he was to go for a ram, you could get decent value out of the investment because of how flimsy pastures are. Like, you kill 2 pastures, you return your investment. And right now, Poppy hasn't actually diversified. He's finally going to drop the stable. This is a little bit too late, though. He's going to be spotted, and he's going to be forced back. He has to cancel it. Trebuchet needs to be careful, though. He's going too close to the TC. We'll be able to back away. No garrison coming out from Poppy Paw, as Poppy Paw didn't want to sacrifice any of his economy. And this time, the stable will go up. No shift around on the south side, though. Trebuchet, yeah, he doesn't know. Oh, wow. He reveals it too late. So this was a horseman, not a scout. So he didn't get eyeballs on that. He will deny the gold gathering now for Poppy Paw. But Poppy Paw's already prepping himself. He's getting the stable down. He has the racks already. But he does need to address this aggression. And because the aggression is in his base, Trebuchet should free up room to tech up. But when you look at the numbers right now, Poppy Paw actually has quite a lot of surplus. So he actually might beat an HRE player to the castle age. And that can be really crippling for Trebuchet in this game. Especially these outposts already denying him, right? Like, although he hasn't directly outpost spammed on this relic, he's prevented the direct route back to base. And this is also an opportunity for Poppy Paw to see you rotating for those relics. And if he gets up ahead of you in the castle and gets the first few lances out, it's going to be very hard for Trebuchet to get his initial relics in, which is critical to success for the HRE. A lot of prowling around, but, like, Treb's not really going to find a way in here. And Poppy is getting a horseman upgrade. Remember, you start with very naked horsemen as the Mongols. Luckily, the upgrade for normie horsemen is incredibly cheap, only 100. The spearmen will buffer away those horsemen for the moment, but the villagers riding out as well. I mean, they can actually shiv down the spearmen pretty effectively. And that's what they're going to do now. I like he's doing this. Like, he just needs to strip vision away. Like, vision is key. It wins and loses games. Oh, wait. What? Trebuchet didn't heal. No. Say no to horseman abuse, folks. It's kind of cool, actually, the way he's doing this. Like, he's prepping his prelate to move out, and he's going to move him out while healing. So he's actually getting double value right now. However, the timing is really going to be off. I feel like his economy isn't bolstered the way it should be because there's double investment into the horseman, right? Like, he kind of doubled down on this, and it means that Puppy Paw is almost ready for a tech up, and he does have access to the gold now with 10 people moving out. So he will beat him to the punch. Question is, in this situation, like Trebuchet, I wonder if stopping off of the blacksmith really helped you or hindered you here. I understand, like, the imminent pressure of the Mongol outpost forcing you to do something, but you have sacrificed your timing. The good news, however, is that Puppy Paw is delaying himself here. You can see the numbers aren't boosting as quickly as they could have because of how delayed he was getting back on the gold. And this really is credit to the initial horsemen from Trebuchet and then the archers as well being outside of Puppy Paw's base. It prevented him from gathering this very far away gold vein. And that really does come back to the choice of Puppy Paw to prioritize the woodline and the Uvu over the gold. Like, he had to make a harsh choice here. This wasn't what I call a great generation for a Mongol player because you didn't have that nice kind of trinity where you've got like a gold line next to the wood, then the Uvu's like maybe just out of TC range but close enough for pastures. All of a sudden, you kind of start to wonder who is going to crack that castle first, but wonder no longer. Puppy's in. Trebuchet, notably delayed now. And this is the farmland transition. This is what crippled him, right? So think about the maths here. 450 wood invested here. Another 50 wood for an additional lumber camp while you weren't gathering. The gaps in your eco gathering on the wood line in conjunction with the fact that you then went into farms. Like, that is a heavy burden on even an HRE economy at this stage in the game. Especially when you're trying to float an active military force alongside it. Puppy just doing his little dances. What? Where? Is he going for the deer? Yeah, he's going for the deer. All right. I mean, given the fact that Trebuchet hasn't come out of the base recently, I can kind of understand the desire. But surely these horsemen, like, it's boot eating time, right? You either have to keep your spearmen here, or you can't do this, which means you're not getting aggressive anytime soon. And I think that means that Trebuchet should be able to get at least the first relic, if not the second one, for free. I mean, I say that right now, Puppy Paw is drawing attention with these horsemen, but they are outnumbered. And they can't also just whittling away at that small archer force. So, as it stands right now, Trebuchet really needs to get that first relic. And it looks like he's finally moving out the prelate. The horsemen are going to clean up the Khan's forces, the Mongols' force rather. And then that will be the first relic banked. And that's a big booster, remember. That's 300 gold. And really it turns into kind of this gold race. And I think an important detail to consider in this gold race is, does Puppy Paw have the golden trail, as I like to call it? Which is, if you're a Mongol player, you want an optimal gold route that doesn't waste a lot of time idling. So the last thing you want is, say a gold line starts here, and you have to go down to this one, and then you have to go across to the other one to the north. That's a bad, suboptimal gold line. Like, you're covering ground you've already been through. So Puppy Paw does have somewhat of an optimal gold line. He can go here over to this one, and then he can shift round. But it's big gaps in between, and none of these are fat gold veins. The fat gold veins are actually elsewhere. So it might be a little bit frustrating. And oh, the wall, oh my God, he gets it! Oh, what? I've become so numb to Wallalols. Never expecting them to work, but 2 HP seals the deal. The spearman damage too low, and Trebuchet, all of a sudden, his military force doubling up, and Puppy Paws going next to 0. Oh my good God. That's going to sting. That means that this isn't protected anymore. Remember what we said, right? You had a defense force. You had a way of holding your opponent back, but Puppy Paw, his gluttony is going to be punished. He wanted to deny the relic so badly, and now his food will be denied. As the horsemen ride in, and Puppy Paw far away from base. No Yam movement speed either. The pings, he's attacking on multiple fronts. He throws away the spears onto the wood line. Puppy Paw's distracted there. He's going to pull back the villagers now, but a lot of damage being done here. And that eco lead he worked so hard to build up is just being blitzed straight away after this conversion. Oh, Trebuchet. With the Trebuchet move. From Puppy Paw's perspective here. Is the spearmen, they're still going? Oh, they're going to find the shaman as well. Minus 150 gold. Villagers forced to garrison. So many spearmen, they're insta-killing the villagers. And he's pulling them all back to a fully garrisoned TC. He's basically just donating them right now. Oh, what world we live in. where Mongols turn on their own kind. Actually, that's probably more historically accurate, you know. When the tribal fights within them. That's exactly what we're seeing here is the turncoats make it a lead now for Trebuchet. Trebuchet being 3 eco units up, and the Knights arriving as well. And Trebuchet hasn't noticed Puppy Paw. What? Both players seemingly blind. There's no player in green in this one, so we can't blame camouflage. More horsemen are riding in, though. Trebuchet is ramping up so much aggression into Puppy Paw's base, and Puppy Paw doesn't have the troops to defend himself because he lost his army to that Wololo. And a lance of falling to horsemen, not what you want to see. Villagers also going to be going down. Textiles has been researched by Puppy Paw, but it's not going to stop Knights from striking you down. And, you know, like we love the meme of, if you strike me down, I'll come back stronger than you could ever possibly imagine, but I don't see that for Puppy Paw here. The only thing he can imagine right now is a grave that he's going to be pushed into. As Trebuchet is ramping up. Now having still only 1 relic. Second one should be coming back soon. Yes, there's one being grabbed there. Moving out for another one probably soon. It looks like the Khan has been sitting here bodyguarding this the whole time. But I don't know if I'd say this is an efficient use of a Khan. Like, a Khan should be doing a lot more than this. It's such a powerful unit, even after the nerfs. For it to just be guarding a relic this whole while versus sticking a Knight out here, you have to question whether this was the best use. But he's going to move out now with the Shaman. This is going to be big. He's going to be able to deny another one of those relics away. In fact, I think this might be the first one he's banked. Has he moved the... Wait, am I blind? There it is, yeah. So this is going to be the first one coming out. There's still safe relics for him to gather. This isn't the end of the world if you're an HRE fan. Ugh. Those people. No, but seriously, 2 relics is good enough. Like, you're actually pretty content if you get 2. 3 is like, oh, the world loves me. However, the world hates you right now, as he'll finally realize he's being raided into his farmlands. He does not have textiles, so that definitely stinks. But it's really not a big enough lead. Oh, not another wall. This one won't go off. Trebuchet will not be donating man-at-arms to the Mongol cause. And the Khan, well, he wasn't able to protect there. Even if he was in position against these man-at-arms, he wouldn't be able to do much. And look what the man-at-arms are doing. They're on a long journey around the back. And I do believe that is, yeah, without marching drills, which is now being fixed. So that is coming out. That's actually a big deal. It allows you to kind of actively raid these man-at-arms. They're just tanky enough, right? One of the biggest limitations of MAA is being 1.12 movement speed makes them one of the slowest units in the game. It means you can't even chase down villagers. But should you fix this, like the 1.29 movement speed from the Yam, you get about 1.24 if I recall correctly. You're almost good enough to gap close. And if you're in range that you start charging, you will get in range of these villages. Which you're about to see if the charges now, but it looks like actually, no. Misses the opportunity. He's at least shutting down the operation. And it takes ages to kill the MAA. So that's going to grind gold to a halt from Puppy Paw. And Puppy Paw doesn't have any relics still banked. So this hurts him a lot. And I think that Khan is dead. He finally gets aggressive with him, but he's not microing him. He's just standing still. Knights riding in. He'll finally realize it and peel back just in time. That's a little bit too close for comfort. Raids in once more. And you have to wonder, why is Trebuchet still not walled this? He's been raided through this north side twice. If he doesn't now wall it up, I feel like he's just inviting Puppy Paw in. Which, you know, that can be good if you're baiting your opponent into a trap. I don't see the trap here. More like Alderon just being blown to pieces. Because it's just freebie kills for the Mongol player. Oh, moving out on the Relic. The Shaman's like, oh, I'm just here to pick up the delivery. Whoa, no one said anything about a fight. No choice, though. The Lancers go down. Everything goes down. Relic's going to be protected. And that's very greedy of Trebuchet, but the greed isn't going to be punished. He already secured 3 relics as he snuck to the west side to yoink the one right near Puppy Paw's base. And Puppy Paw, being a little bit too greedy himself, never went for that one. So he still doesn't have a single relic banked. And well, the count right now is a little bit crippling. Trebuchet up at 18. Meanwhile, Puppy Paw stuck at 4. He was delayed getting back out in the gold. He's delayed getting his Lancers out into the field. And his Lancers are kind of throwaway. They're occasionally finding villages, which still don't have textiles. But now that they're spimming here, that fun comes to an end. And I feel like right now, you need to make a choice. Like, you either diversify your portfolio of units that you're pushing out, or you go for some sort of greedy second TC play. But I think you can't go TC against this. Like, if you go secondary TC now as Mongols, Trebuchet's just going to go up to Imperial. And then he's going to get the Love Hotel. He's going to get the Villager Printer. Oh, Puppy pouring again. He hasn't reacted just yet on either side. He'll finally switch over to butcher some of these villagers. A lot of low HP ones as well. All because he wanted this monastery. Very greedy boy. Spin will finally react to pushing back. Sacred sites are being capped. So that's additional gold trickle. And look at the Knights they rode in. Puppy Paw taking another hit. But still having the eco lead for the moment. Although quantity is the bigger problem, and there's a big quantity of villagers here. Not enough room to protect them all. Luckily for Puppy Paw, Trebuchet does not know this, though. Doesn't have the scouting vision to see how many vulnerable villagers are here. Will force him back, so a little bit of breathing room, but Puppy Paw still missing that clear win condition right now. Like, he hasn't got a blacksmith, right? So you can't think rams once he reaches his opponent's base. He can get the creeping siege going, but his opponent is fielding a lot of knights, and that makes it problematic. Like, unless you have the counter to the knights in place, ample crossbowmen, any mangonels, springles, whatever you build, are going to get minimum value against a heavily armored mobile unit, and they're also going to be easy pickings for that unit. It's been easy pickings. Trebuchet is just going to be yoinking that one. And I believe Puppy Paw has now given up on even trying to contest relics. So just a wasted investment in those shamans, in that prayer tent. At least he'll get a good fight for his trouble, but this was done on purpose. Trebuchet threw away his troops to give more room for this prelate to run. And he's pretty much out of dodge now. Like, there's no way you're catching up. Meanwhile, Trebuchet will just continue to just go wandering with the prelate. Wait, I'm wondering why he's running over here, though. What? Did he forget that he... Because he picked this one up. Right? Yeah. Then... Hello? Just out for a stroll, you know? Check out the west side of the world. The wonders of existence. Oh, he's going for Sacred Site. My brain is so stupid sometimes. You know what it is? When you see HRE, you don't think Sacred Sites. You think Relics. That was a very... that's a very juicy kind of spawn when you get that as well. The Relic plus the Sacred Site. Feels good, man. Interesting didn't go for the eastern one. But that is contested territory. Puppy Paw is still raiding through, but, like, there's still no ramp up. This is still just kind of a tactic without the overarching strategy, right? Like, what is he playing towards here? It's kind of like he's playing for this death by 1,000 cuts idea that we see French players do with their knights all the time. But the difference is a French player with knights would have, like, 4 different squads of knights raiding on each side of the base. Instead, you're just very predictable, and Trebuchet is responding better every time. And now he's ramping up as well. You can see the 4 districts, Siege Workshop being dropped as well. And Trebuchet, he doesn't really need Imperial. He can end this game now. And that's why he goes marching forward. Puppy Paw still trying to recover from that wall lol earlier, as his military count is still notably lower than Trebuchet's. But no Trebuchets here, only Mangonels that maybe could make the difference for the Horsemen. They bait out the fire. One of them is going to die. Now they'll just sidestep around this, and the concern is the wraparound, the Knights in the back. They're not attacking the Mangonels, though. Instead, they go after the Lancers, and the crossbows are able to make mincemeat of them. Mistake made by Trebuchet there, missed opportunity. He could have taken out both Mangonels in that time, but instead, the Knights are just going to be cleaned up. And it turns out A-Click does not solve every problem in the world. You know, maybe at some ranks, but definitely not this high up in the leaderboards. However, this will be breathing room for a keep. A keep that can be garrisoned, remember. As Trebuchet did get surplus relics, so if you bank them inside the keep, they get, I believe it's like 20-25% weapon range, extra damage. They also get the extra missile resistance. Basically, they get a lot of buffs, and on top of it, they still get the 100 gold generation permanent. So, just to summarize, don't ask questions, bank your additional relics inside your keeps. Do it now. So if this is a prelate, it should just be yoinking. There it is. No. Oh. Trebuchet's feeling lucky. He's like, can I get another wall? Can I get some walls in the chat? I need one right now. There it is. There's the upgrade. Look at that. The damage, the sight range, weapon range. Still getting the gold as well. He pulls it out, though. He's like, come closer. I need to show you something. Oh, but it looks like Puppy Paw wants to show him something. The Mangonel's getting shots out with the wraparound. This time, they will find their target. Precision launch round the back. Forces the instant GG out, and Trebuchet will take the game. Whew. That was a spicy meatball. Really well played with the wraparound in the end out of Trebuchet. I didn't refer to him as Mr. just because I need like full confirmation if it is him. I'll try to catch him streaming, but presumably this was Mr. I definitely like could see this being him. It's definitely a high enough level of skill being shown here. But I think outside of like the individual micros in this game, like the micro moment that's going to matter, like we always want to see them. We always love them, and it's always ingrained in our mind when we see them. It's the wall play. That wall play was phenomenal. 2 HP left. The Spearman, thinking that they can do it. This is why so many players don't even gamble. Even if they think they have the damage value to finish off that unit, They just walk away. Because what are you losing from walking away? Like, in theory, you have horsemen there still. You've got this prelate trying to run away. The spearman can even branch off to the right side. You can get out of range. And then once the wall's been weighed out, just go back in. But instead, Puppy Paw gets caught being a little greedy pooch and appropriately gets put on the leash for it, essentially surrendering his entire military division at that stage of the game and just basically putting Trebuchet into cruise mode to take full control there on Dry Arabia.